Hello and welcome back to The Shed here at the Shedinburgh Fringe Festival as part of the Edinburgh Festival Fringe. It's a joy to be back here on the stage at The Shed. Do remember to take some time out your day to check it out. Great place to work, relax, take in a show, have a pizza, have a wee bit of downtime, have a bit of collaborative thinking with a new artistic friend you've not yet met. That's right, the Fringe is the place to be, and I'm delighted to be here today having a conversation with the amazing Shôn Dale-Jones. Shôn, hello. How are you?
Yeah, good, Gary. Thank you very much for inviting me to come to your podcast.
You're very, very welcome. How's your Fringe been so far?
Yeah, it's been great. I mean, I have to admit, it's a very short Fringe for me this year. So it's been about 29 hours long so far. And every hour of that 29 hours has been hot.
Yeah.
Unbelievably hot, which is our favourite conversation, obviously, about the weather.
Yeah, well, absolutely. I mean, for those of you who are tuning in from further afield, what's happened in Edinburgh in the last couple of days is we've got weather that you might call normal, but we would call absolutely off the charts hot.
Baking.
From nowhere. From absolutely nowhere. And I have sweated my body weight twice a day. And it's not fun. I'm one of those people that I always hated that says when the good weather finally comes, it's a bit too hot, actually. I've become that person. But I will say, I'm still glad it's here. I should just have more ice poles. Do you ever have an ice pole, Shôn?
An ice pole?
Yeah. You might call them ice pops down south.
Oh, yeah.
Because you're
I don't know
wrong
what
down
we call
there.
them, but yeah, I know what you mean, like an ice lolly.
No, like the one specifically that's in like a plastic tube.
Okay.
That you freeze in the tube and
then
then
they go pop when you suck it.
Well, no, then they're called ice pops because, again, you're wrong, but down south I think you call them that because you like snap them in half and then you've got two open. But we call them an ice pole because that pole, there's no stick.
Yeah, no,
it's not a lolly.
I've never broken.
But I never knew it. But I guess I'm just jealous about the pop thing because I never knew you could just snap it in half and it's open. Because we spent ages trying to bite it open. You had to wait for it to melt a bit so that there was a bit of liquid circulating around the outside, and then that would give you enough wiggle room to bite it open. But then, of course, that created a juice spurt which came out. And listen.
I'll tell you what I'm going to do, though, straight after this, is I'm going to buy a nice lolly and just smash it in half.
No, but it has to be a nice, if you did that with a nice lolly on a stick, well, I mean, you just look like the Incredible Hulk and folk would be like, look at that guy, he's just showing that lolly who's boss. But specifically a nice pole, like it's, I don't know where you
If I went into a shop and said I want an ice pole.
Yeah.
Like any old shop. Or...
I reckon like you go to a newsagent, still be probably in the freezer. But they might be a bygone thing because you can't really get a markup on them. You might still get them in the supermarket, not yet frozen.
Oh,
so they're just like a bag of like,
yeah. I think I'm getting on. I think it's like, so it doesn't have a stick in it.
No, it doesn't. Yeah.
I do know what that is.
Sort of, It looks like a very long, thin first aid gel pack.
Yeah.
But it's filled with like blue raspberry goodness.
No, I've definitely done that.
Yeah.
Yeah, for a while I was like, bloody hell, we don't live in the same flat. On the same planet. No, I know what you mean, but I don't know what you call them. But yeah, I love it. I love them. Yeah.
Well,
flipping neck tucker. That was a long
Speaking of ice poles, tell me, Shôn, what was your first ever Fringe?
That's no. See, my first ever Fringe.
Yeah.
Okay, so when I was a student, as in like a university student, I was here in 1989 with a show called The Nerd by a writer called Larry Shue.
Yeah.
And there was a show that Rowan Atkinson had done really well in New York. And anyway, it was available, and that's what we did. And it was at the Theatre West End, which I think still runs, but I think it goes by a different name at the end of Princes Street.
Oh, yeah, at in the church. And
yeah, exactly.
Yeah. It's called the Church Theatre.
Yeah, the Church for the Theatre.
Yeah.
So that was 1989. But then, like, my first, like, Fringe, like, as a, like, pro... I don't know if I go pro, but anyway, I was 1997.
Amazing. So
yeah,
tell me
it wasn't amazing though.
No, it's amazing to know that that you've stuck with it, but I would not assume that first Fringes are often not. So tell me, Shôn, what was that year like?
Yeah, I mean, let's not talk about it. No, you know what? What do I remember about it? I remember a review coming out, not just for that show, the show that I was doing, but for a bunch of shows, and it said something, and so now everybody wants to be a comedian. And obviously you can tell from the title where that what the kind of what level of hurt that was. So it was it was the first Fringe, so it was just difficult.
Yeah.
Because I didn't, you sort of look at Edinburgh Festival from afar, and it's like a mountain, isn't it? But from far away, it looks like the mountain's possible to climb. But as you get closer and closer, the mountain gets bigger and bigger, and then suddenly you're standing at the bottom of the mountain. You go, "Fuck! Why did I say I was ever going to climb this?" Yeah, it was one of those. Yeah, and also I was younger then, and I had my daughter with me, and so it was hectic, being a young dad and having a daughter, and yeah, also it was lovely.
So it was lovely and hard.
Yeah, which is great, right?
Yeah.
Two ends of the spectrum.
Yeah.
A lovely, hard 1997 Edinburgh Festival, ruined by reviewers.
Okay, so 2 questions. Was it meant to be funny? And were they wrong and it was funny?
It was whimsical.
Oh.
And then someone told me, "Do you know that?" Or maybe
That was
asked.
that was an awe of like pure empathy.
Yeah.
Like for someone to shit on whimsy feels
Yeah.
like the cruelest thing you can do.
Yeah, exactly. Whimsy, exactly. And but I love the conversation about, do you know the difference between whimsy and kind of what's funny, jokes and all that. Yeah. So I think the show was perfectly fine. I really do. I remember we then did take it to London, and I remember someone saying, "This is a really gorgeous show. It just hasn't done that well at the box office." And that was a really nice thing.
Yeah.
Not for my bank manager, but a really nice thing to understand that you can create nice work that sometimes no one comes to see.
Yeah, and actually then you have over the years found your audience.
Finally, yeah.
Yeah, and what's that journey like from going, here, there's obviously a truth to what you're making. People can see it, but you don't recognize the usual signposts of like, I put on a show, everyone loves it, it's a success, therefore I fit into the recognized mountain climb that you're talking about. Probably didn't still at that point feel like you were getting anywhere near that mountain. Does it feel after a while that actually there's a hill on the side, or that actually you want to settle in a camp somewhere up the mountain? Like where does that analogy go?
Yeah.
Or are you now just sitting there going, Shôn is king of the mountain now? Where do you land in there?
Yeah, no, that's it's great that you carried on with the metaphor. Thank you for doing that.
If you're going to start a metaphor, and I will.
Yeah, no, brilliant. No, it's a good question. I think I feel like I don't know, like maybe there have been 3 phases for me, like the way I kind of maybe understand kind of going to Edinburgh or understand like how work evolves over time. So I guess like when I first was doing Edinburgh, I was making quite a lot of like devised ensemble work, and so there was an Edinburgh that sort of like revolved around that kind of theatre work. And I think back in the late 90s, early noughties, there was a really good market, like a really good audience. Horrible to call an audience market, but there were audiences and there were venues who housed really good pieces of work with like 3, 4, 5, 6 people on stage, and that was kind of normal, which I'm sure we'll come on to later. And then there was a phase where I really did want to be funny. And so I did start doing some clown work, and I created like a little character to do that with, and then I used lots of kind of relatively not sophisticated, but like lots of technology, like slide projectors and cinematic projectors and all kind like loads of gubbins, and so there was a phase like that. And then more recently, the third phase has been me really doing very pared back kind of storytelling and really just using words and very, very little else.
Yeah.
So each time I come to Edinburgh, it feels like I'm in another phase, and I think the festival sort of changes accordingly. Do you know what I mean? Because within Edinburgh, there are very many different kinds of Edinburghs, aren't there? You know what I mean?
Yeah, absolutely. And I think that's something that you notice kind of over time is that there are. Well, I would say there is no mountain, that it's just a series of, actually, it's like villages almost within it. There's so many shows for a start that there can be shows doing tremendously well and, and another show doing tremendously well. And they don't know about each other because it's just such a huge sprawling collection of different types of art.
Yeah.
So you are doing your, say your clown show, you get lost in that world, and you don't know what's going on in another genre, and actually following your own path, be that 3 different paths or whatever, is the way to go year on year, right?
Yeah, I think so. I think that is one way of understanding, isn't it? There's an Edinburgh for theatre, there's an Edinburgh for clowns, there's an Edinburgh for comedians, there's an Edinburgh for storytellers, there's an Edinburgh for ice pops. You know what I mean? Yeah, I think that's one way of understanding it. And I mean, like, I also feel like it's remarkable that there is an ongoing similarity between every Edinburgh I've ever been to, but every year you can feel it changing, whether it's to do with like where the content is, what are the themes and conversations that people want to engage with. So it changes as well.
Yep. How does it feel doing this year without a full run, engaging with it? You were here in the shed last night doing the Duke. How did that feel to be coming up to just do a short run, take it in, not be here for the whole month? Because that's not quite, you don't always...
No, I've never done a one-off before.
Yeah.
No. So, to be honest, I really enjoyed it, because I think I suppose the truth is, if I hadn't been invited to come and be part of Shedinburgh, then I probably wouldn't have done Edinburgh at all. So to be able to have a little time here, to be able to do my own work here, to be able to see friends and other shows, it's just such a great opportunity, because at the end of the day, I guess like a lot of people, like, there's a slight addictive quality to Edinburgh in a positive way, and so like it's just so I've really enjoyed having that opportunity. And also what I've really loved as well is that, like, the care that Shedinburgh kind of takes, the care shown to the artists, the fact that they look after you so well, is brilliant, because it's actually, in comparison to doing any other Edinburgh, it's been so stress-free.
Yeah.
And that's been great, because there's so much more headspace to be able to really enjoy being here.
Yeah, loads of people have said that from an artist perspective. The team here have really done an amazing job of valuing that care that the artists need, and it doesn't always happen in other venues. So
I mean, I was
lovely to see.
Yeah, I did a show here maybe 3 years ago, and the performer who was on stage before me, in the last week of the festival, I mean, it was terrifying to see how, not to get too sad about it, but it was terrifying to see the condition she was in. It had really beaten her up. And so, I mean, there are wonderful things about Edinburgh as well.
Yeah.
But like you say, it can be very difficult. So the way in which Shedinburgh sort of like, takes care of the performer is wonderful, because I think we as performers, we need to keep enthusiastic about coming here. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I think by recharging that sort of excitement is brilliant, because I'm not kidding. I'm now really excited by trying to get a show here next year.
Oh,
and I don't think I would have felt that way if I hadn't been here these last few days.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah.
Well, the team will love hearing that, and they are brilliant.
Yeah.
Going back to that first year then, what advice would you give yourself at the foot of that mountain, Shôn, if you could give yourself any?
Yeah, I think it's like this. I think like there are times in life, aren't there? But I think Edinburgh Festival, as a young person especially, or maybe forever, when you come up with your own show that you've been, baking for so long, and you really, really have so many hopes for the show. You're in a very, very tight narrative, and you're very bound within that narrative. And I think the advice I give myself is just to like park that narrative and get into the narrative of the whole festival, and really enjoy being part of the whole thing, and really go and walk up Arthur's Seat and look at Edinburgh and see how small, or whether or not you can see your venue at all, and just keep reminding yourself, because for a while Edinburgh's the whole universe. It's your family, it's your pride, it's, you know what I mean? And you go, you know what, this, like, I think if someone could just have relieved a bit of pressure, that would have been nice.
That's great. That sounds like really good advice to give someone who's doing their first year this year, actually.
Yeah, I hope so. Yeah,
to say, take that moment, get up. Well, that's Arthur's Seat apparently is on fire at the moment.
It's a great
So,
time to go
you
to
know,
Arthur's Seat.
yeah.
You know, yeah. No, that's awful. Yeah. But Arthur's Seat is definitely a good walk, or or the equivalent. But
Yeah.
yeah.
Oh, that's lovely. So thinking then about those other shows, going back to any point throughout those, from 97 to now, what's 28
It's 28
years?
years, isn't it?
I mean, that's a shift.
Yeah.
Yes.
It's almost 3 decades.
Yeah.
It's brilliant, isn't it?
Yeah, it's awesome.
Yeah.
It's awesome. Is there a show, I mean, and this might be impossible, but is there a show you could pick that stands out for
I mean,
you?
that is a super hard one, isn't it? It really is. And I mean, there was a show called Dressed by a company called This Egg. It's an interesting show to try to describe because, like, I think what I found as a sort of take home was, for me, at the end of the day, it was a story about friendship. I mean, even now I sort of like well up thinking about it because it was a show about, a person, a woman who'd been raped, and it was about her inability to be able to share that terrifying and horrible experience with her closest friends.
Yeah. This was about 3 or 4 years ago, right?
Yeah, I think it opened. Yeah, exactly. 2018. maybe.
Yeah.
Anyway, so it is a personal favorite because it was my daughter, and I watched it with my mother, and I watched it with my sister, and it was just the content was beautiful.
Yeah.
So it's hard for me not to, because it was such a deeply profound moment. And shared with my mother and my sister. Like I say, it's always interesting to try to share this love of theatre with family members, because I don't come from a family of kind of artists in any way. They might enjoy going to arts events, but anyway, all that stuff. So so that was awesome.
I can only imagine how special that would have been.
Yeah, it was huge. Otherwise, I saw Tim Crouch's An Oak Tree for the first time in Edinburgh. And that is obviously it was an incredible show and a sort of an amazing lesson in theatre as well, so that definitely is a standout show as well.
Yeah, that was 10 years ago when he did the 10-year anniversary, as it was at that point. I was lucky enough to be in it, and it has stayed with me to one of the most perplexing experiences of my life. It's like, it is, the structure of theatre. It is a hypnosis act for you on your own. He's doing something with you, the actor, and then everyone else, the theatre, at the same time, and holding those things with such incredible skill, as if he's doing nothing. And it's an incredible show. I was only able to see it because it was the second last night of the run I was in it. So I couldn't go the next night, and then I was able to see it a couple of months ago down in the London run, and so much of it was lost on me as an experience. It triggered very little memories because, like, the guy, he hypnotizes you. Like, I can't really describe it as a thing. Like, I think he's a genius. Like, I thought, this didn't happen. This must be new. And I thought, no. Remember, I remembered very little of it. It seemed like it lasted about 10 minutes. Oh, it was incredible. Yeah, the man's quite special. Yeah. Great stuff. Great show. And what about
Mongolian throat singers?
Oh yeah, go on.
I mean,
yeah.
I think those kinds of experiences, what I mean is kind of going to see something that you probably would never ordinarily see in your own backyard. That was fantastic.
Yeah.
And also sort of wonderful and confounding, and just the experience of this sound delivered by these incredible people. Yeah, that and I think for me that represents, the sort of magnitude of Edinburgh. And, it kind of reminds me of going, it's global. I mean, you go to Edinburgh and you travel all over the world, and that's just fantastic.
And it's particularly nice to have that heat, because, I live in Glasgow, and to get all that come here for a month is just like, the most incredible gift to come, that people come here to share those stories. And over the years, those moments have been the most profound for me, when you learn about someone else's life from someone else's perspective, from somewhere else in the world, that you would never have got if it wasn't for the festival landing here and people bringing their stories. It's lovely.
Yeah, and I think, where we are right now, it's as a country, it's more and more profound and important and beautiful that we access that work, that we don't isolate ourselves, and people still come here. So I think for me that kind of keeps on going on in my mind when I think about where I'm going when I say I'm going to the Edinburgh Festival. You're just going to some extraordinary places. That's great.
With that, I mean, I think I've got the feeling that the answer might be two in the same. But if I was asking for a personal highlight over those 28 years, I get the feeling that your favourite show might be totally imbued in that same feeling, because what a magical moment that is to experience. But if there is one separate from that, a moment that you can think back on in that time that feels maybe the most important or the most significant for you, for any reason at all, really, I guess.
Yeah, the one that springs to mind, like when I was doing a show called Floating and Story of a Rabbit in 2007, and the sort of and this is what I call like the kind of clown shows I was doing with lots of different slide projections and etc. But when I got here, I was so hungry to connect. I was like so overexcited. I wanted to do, and I trained in Paris at the Lecoq School, and when I was training in Paris at the Lecoq School, I did a lot of street theatre, just in order to make money. And so I liked the street as well. And I thought, I there must be something, I can do in the street. And so I created with my friend Jill Norman this event, and Richard Caudry and Stephanie Muller, and we created this event called Holding Hands. And basically all we did is persuade people to hold hands with each other in the street. And then we'd take a photo of them, or we'd record what they had to say. And we just went on a kind of adventure with it for weeks, and we ended up managing to get people to hold hands halfway down the Royal Mile, and the whole idea was to connect strangers with each other across the city in order to remind people how connected we are. And something just happened, and it was nothing and everything. And like, I literally remember going, how long have we got before the show? Okay, we've got to be on stage in 10 minutes. Let's just do one more holding hands. And the producer who I was working at the time was literally having to manhandle me and take me, because like, no, this is much more important. Fuck the theatre. No, getting people to hold hands in the street. And so that's a personal highlight, really.
Yeah. And it's in that folklore legend, like, people talk about that, through the years, and you see the pictures pop up every now and again. There's pictures of folk lined right down streets. It's quite,
and I really want to do it again.
Yeah, man.
I mean, I kind of did get very ambitious with it. I kind of took it to big cities and asked people in New York and Paris if they'd do it. But what's great, obviously, you have in Edinburgh, people kind of understand it a bit more because they're at a festival. So the idea of just randomly doing it in the streets of Paris would be difficult. But anyway, I it's one of those projects which I believe, I hope one day I'll do again. Yeah. Because it's so simple, it's so momentary. Yeah. It's like a piece of public art. Anyway, there you go. That was it.
I've got a feeling you might do it later today when you get out there.
Yeah, can you imagine?
So let's get into some quick fire questions then. Do you have one show that, even if you don't have the time because you're up on a flying visit, but one show from this year that you would love to catch? A hot top tip.
Yeah, I mean, Elf Lions is doing a trilogy. So I'm hoping I will see that show. If I don't, then I'll definitely catch it. I think, she's remarkable. And then the other show which I've just seen, which I really, really enjoyed, is Thanks for Being Here by the Entren and Goed.
Oh, yeah, that's right. We were saying. Yeah.
And every time I see their work, it's always unique and it's always inspiring. And
they've had a lot of love on the podcast so far. I think they're one of those companies that just continue to bring something new and purposeful.
Yeah, and for me, like, what's particularly special with them is Alexander is the director, and then there's a really amazing team around him. Charlotte de Brognier and Karen de Blazer and other people too. and they're an amazing group. And I had the great fortune, like years ago, maybe 10 years ago, of meeting them. And the great thing about the festival, you have a beer and you hang out in the courtyard, and then I end up working with them.
Wow.
And for me, that's also a big part of the festival, that you meet people and then you end up collaborating with other theatre makers. And my experience of working with them was just so, I loved it so much, because they worked in such a different way to what I did. And to have the opportunity to work with other artists, it was phenomenal. So so I can't not mention their show. But they're great.
Brilliant. Have you got a top food tip in the city for when you're here fringing?
There's a place, I think it's been open for a while. It's a Thai noodle place.
Oh, yeah.
Is it like opposite Bistro Square?
Right. Oh, yeah.
I can't remember the name of it.
Yeah. We'll try and link it below. I'm always getting in trouble for saying
Yeah, what
that,
I love
but
about it is, it's really good Thai food. It's really decently priced, and you can get a seat by the window, because I love looking out, onto the world. And they just have this wonderful little bench by the window, and you can sit on a little spoon. On a spoon. They give you, they give you chopsticks.
They do pack you in, and they sit you on a spoon.
Yeah, no, great. No, it's great. It's a wooden spoon, just to be clear. It's not like a metallic spoon. They give you a nice little wooden spoon, and then they give you little metal noodles. You sit on a stool, you look out the window, you eat your noodles. It's well priced. It's really tasty. It's right in the middle of Edinburgh. It's perfect.
Yep. Great. It's on Potter Row, right? Yeah, I know the one you mean. Yeah. So check out the Thai noodle place on Potter Row, and then what's the one go by?
Yeah.
With your wee wooden spoon. What is your top tip for surviving the Fringe?
Water.
Good show.
Water.
Yeah.
Maybe also. Yeah, there's lots, isn't there? I mean, I think. Yeah, I really think it's great to just use the time that you have in Edinburgh to just really enjoy being in this community, because I've always done a lot of touring, and I still really enjoy touring. But what happens when you tour? You're turning up at different theatres and you're plugging into stuff. But this opportunity to be with all these other people that you're touring around the country or the world with together at the same time, that is just remarkable. So my top tip would be just make the most of being together in whichever way you like being together with each other. Just, grab coffees, go for walks, do you know what I mean? Find a place to go dancing. For me, that's got to be the biggest joy. Do you know what I mean? Just being with people. And I guess the other thing is just going back to Arthur's Seat. I really think getting a bit of perspective on it is good as well.
Amazing. Well, then you spoke there about having a good night out. What is the best Fringe night out in your ideas? What does it look like?
What, nowadays, or
Well, that you could give us you can give us both. You can give us nowadays.
Yeah. Okay. So you're gonna go. Okay. He keeps on banging on about Arthur's Seat, but going there at night is also great.
Yeah.
I went last night. To a. It was called. Listen Dance by Little Bulb.
Oh, I love Little Bulb.
They're amazing, right?
Oh, those big shout Little Bulb.
Yeah, absolutely,
big love.
Absolutely brilliant. And Listen Dance is a night where they basically take you through loads of different dances that you do in groups. You know what I mean? So from a Cayley to a Cora to a sort of a disco dance routine, and they talk you through the moves. They give you a little bit of story about it. And then you basically end up doing, without realizing it, these massive choreographies with everybody else who's in the room. And it went on for an hour and a half. You're sweating like crazy. You twisted your ankle, but it's brilliant. It's amazing. And the love in the room, the feeling of joy, and again, the dancing with strangers, but really, really dancing with them and eyeballing each other and being close and being friendly and just reminding ourselves what festivals do, that we're here together, and all that lovely stuff was going on in that room. So Little Bulb, amazing. The bad news is they've gone.
Oh,
Yeah, that's
okay.
so. But I hope they'll it'll be an event that they'll come back with next year.
Yeah, I hope so. It's not surprising to hear that they've managed to get people to connect with joy, because that's just what they do, you know.
Magnificent.
And I've seen so many shows where people have tried to make people dance together, and it feels in some way like you have to jump over something and just pretend that you're feeling it, you know. But
Yeah.
I have full faith that that company would get you dancing because you want to dance, and it happens to be a show because they're just pretty magic.
Absolutely. I mean, yeah, like you say, the absolute genuine nature of their big hearts.
Yeah.
It's just like, I'm with these
Yeah.
people. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's
Oh.
yeah, it's great.
That's lovely.
Yeah.
What about worst sleeping arrangement at the festival then over the years?
Wow, that's a good question, isn't it? What comes to mind, when my daughter was maybe 8 years old, she wanted to sleep in a cupboard. And she just about fit. And we had brought up a futon mattress, because we thought we need a futon mattress because, visitors come. So she knew about the futon mattress, and she kept on saying, I want to sleep in the cupboard. I want to sleep in the cupboard. And we were like, yeah, but Josie, I mean, you can, but it's a bit small. It's a bit weird. It's a bit weird for you, and it's a bit weird for us. Anyway, she slept in the cupboard. And that's not like my worst sleeping arrangement, but it was the weirdest sleeping arrangement. I mean, to literally put your own daughter, 8 years old, in a cupboard, and then she would say, "Can you please say goodnight?" and close the cupboard doors. And so of course we had to. So we said, "Good night, Josie," and close the cupboard doors, and then walk out. And then people say, "Has Josie gone to bed?" And we're like, "Oh yeah, she's gone to bed." "Oh, can I just pop in to say goodnight?" Maybe not. "Oh no, go on. She said that she'd like to say goodnight to me." And they go, "Okay, she's in the cupboard." Yeah, that was pretty weird.
Yeah.
But yeah, she loved it.
Was it? I mean, I didn't want to get specific on the cupboard. Was it like just a standard?
Yeah,
cupboard?
just a standard cupboard. Yeah,
not a walk-in like kind of.
no,
was that-
a nice cupboard. Yeah, and, I can get it. I get it. I mean, I guess like the perspective on the coat hangers.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's
I mean,
like
she
dens,
had,
isn't
she,
it? Did you like dens?
I
when
guess
she
it
was
was
wee?
all that, wasn't it?
Yeah,
And I
yeah.
get, and then she had her soft toys, a little bear and a little polar bear, and
It's like seeking some cozy comfort away from home. Yeah. I get it.
Yeah. And maybe it was she maybe was daring herself. She's also up for an adventure, doing something slightly different.
My youngest has asked so many times if he can sleep in the boot of the car, and I just keep saying,
That's a good one.
"No, it's great, but it's still not happening."
Yeah, that's
Because
weird.
it's just like, but
Yeah, you
we're
see,
like-
I think the
yeah,
cupboard
yeah.
is like just a step on the other side of the line of like.
yeah, well,
weird
it's
places
in the
to live.
house. Do you know what I mean? That's a big step forward.
Yeah.
from boot of the car.
I mean,
But,
we'd
yeah.
padlock her in, just so that you get the whole story. Obviously, we'd padlock her in, and it should do 24 hours. When she fell asleep, we would open the doors.
Yeah,
obviously, you know what I mean, and make sure she's
Yeah.
all right.
We
Yeah.
can't really do that with the boot of the car because then it's just
Yeah, you just
at the
putting
mercy of the foxes and any other animals that might be out at night. What about yourself? What about the worst sleeping arrangement you've had?
I think the truth is that I've always been somebody who really, really takes care of their bed situation.
Yeah.
I won't go into the history of that, but even when I'm on tour, like probably the most important thing, and it's become more important as time's gone on, that I have a really nice bed in a nice room.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's so important to the way that I operate. I need to know that I have a bed to sleep. I'm the youngest of 5 children, so that might be the beginning. There obviously weren't enough bedrooms for all of us in the house. Lots of different stories around bedtime and beds. So I think as soon as I became a fully blown adult, I was like, right, sorting the bloody bed situation out. I'm having a bed every night. So that's where that comes from. Yeah.
Brilliant. So last question then to round us off. We've looked back over 28 years. How about looking forward? What does the future of the Fringe look like, both for yourself and in general, if you...
Wow, yeah. I mean, that's such a good question, isn't it? I mean, as in, it's always fun trying to imagine the future. Like I said earlier, I right now, feel really excited by the idea of coming back next year, and so we'll see where that goes. But like generally, I mean, there are many obstacles to overcome, but I think if I think positively, I think we're at that stage where we just have to keep on remembering like how much of a sort of tightly coiled spring like Edinburgh is, it really is still such a trampoline to other opportunities, and there's something still very magnetic and focusing about the Edinburgh Festival that I think we sort of still really need it. I think if we didn't have it, I think that would be really difficult. I think, of course, we'll always adapt to change, but I think nurturing it and really understanding what it is, what really, it's such a beautiful, beautiful thing. And I think there are people, and I mean, like people here, like Francesca and everybody involved in Shedinburgh, I think what they're doing genuinely is trying to find the essence of what Edinburgh is at its heart, how it began, and what its legacy is, and how we can take the best bits forward. And I think for me, like that's, there will be a future, and it will be bright if there are people like that who are looking after it.
Oh, lovely. Well, Shôn, thank you so much for coming by. Thanks for doing your show last night. Thanks for all your recommendations. And I hope you have a safe journey up the road when it comes. I hope you get back up Arthur's Seat before you go there.
Oh, yeah, by the way, I'm not going up Arthur's Seat. No, I'm going straight to Arthur's Seat now, yeah.
And I hope that for next year, your planning comes to fruition for returning here with a new show, which we'll all be excited to see. So thank you very much.
That's brilliant. Thanks a lot, Gary. Thanks for the opportunity.
Well, what a delight that was to speak to Shôn. And I am so pleased also to tell you that our guest next time will be the aforementioned wonderful Tim Crouch. I'm very much looking forward to that. So please do like, subscribe, follow, share, tell your sister, your mum, your gran, your Doug, your brother, your uncle, and all the rest of them where they can find the SHEDCAST from the Shedinburgh Fringe. Thank you so much for listening and watching, and I'll see you again soon. Bye.